Welcome to Virtual Math Masters. I'm your boy, Master Cruz, so you never do math alone again. All right, let's dive deep into the world of numbers and the vocab words that you will see of the different types of numbers that we have. So first of all, the world of numbers is made of two different numbers. In the whole universe, there's real numbers and imaginary numbers. And if you are taking anything from middle school or high school, algebra 1, geometry or below, you're going to keep it real. If you dig into advanced math like algebra 2 and other classes, you will start seeing imaginary numbers. So let's keep it real for this video. What are the types of real numbers that we have in our world? Well, we definitely have rational numbers. That's the first type of numbers. And rational numbers are numbers that can be easily expressed as a fraction. And this comes straight from the word ratio. Hopefully you notice that rational numbers begins with the word ratio, and ratio means fraction. So numbers that can be expressed as a fraction, like 3/4, that's a rational number. If I just have 5 by itself, I can always write 5/1. Actually, I could write any number over 1, and I have the same value. So this is still 5. If you put in a calculator, 5 divided by 1, still 5. So that's a rational number. 0.75, if I have a decimal, every decimal that stops, that ends, can be rewritten as a fractional. The way that you do that is that you count how many times will you need to move the decimal point to take it to the right end of the number. And in this case will be 2 times, right? 1 and 2. So then I could rewrite this as 75/1, but because I moved twice, I'm gonna have 1/100. Okay, so that's 1 and that 2. If I only moved once, I have it over 10, and if I don't move at all, like in the example with the 5, it's just 1. So if you put in a calculator 75 divided by 100, you will get 0.75. So all these examples are rational numbers, and I'll get back to that one in a second. Let's go to the other type of real numbers. You could get irrational numbers. Now, by definition, an irrational number is a number that is not rational. That's it. It's just that simple. All right. So non-terminating numbers or non-repeating decimals are examples of irrational numbers. So if I have something like 1.312527 ... that just lets me know that the number keeps going forever. There's no pattern. Nothing is repeating. This is irrational. The famous number pi, right? So pi is a symbol that we use to represent 3.14159 ... Keeps going forever. It's an irrational number. It's a non-terminating decimal. If you go to your calculator and you type in the square root of 2, you will also get an irrational number because that number does not repeat and it keeps going forever. So why do I have 1.33 on this side of the rational numbers? If you go to your calculator, is there any fraction that you could write, that you could type, that will give you 1.33? And it will keep repeating because this line on the top means that it keeps repeating forever. And the answer is yes. If you go to your calculator, you could try it right now if you like. And you type in 4/3, the response, the answer will be 1.3333. Will keep repeating forever. So anytime that you have a repeating decimal, 1.25, 25, 25, 1.11111. If it repeats and there is a pattern, this will absolutely be a rational number because it could also be written as a fraction. Now, real numbers expand. We have subgroups of the real numbers. And these, you probably heard them in different math problems, okay? Different math problems. So here we go. We're going to follow the natural counting order. So natural numbers, it's what I call the counting numbers. 1, 2, 3. Think about somebody lived in a cave once and they needed to feed their family, right? So you have to count how many people are in your family. You could go out and grab fish. And so if you have a family of 3, you need to grab 3 fishes. But what happens if the caveman went out there one time hunting for fish for their family, but they couldn't find anything? Well, they didn't have a number for that. And later on, we said we need to assign a number to nothing. And that number means a 0. Nada. Cero. So when you add the 0 to the natural numbers, now they become the whole numbers. And the reason they're called the whole numbers, the way I remember it, it's because the word whole has a zero in it, or zero has a whole, however you want to look at it, all right? So if you take the natural numbers, add zero, you get the whole numbers. But what happens if you are negative? Because then banks came along and they started telling people, you owe me money. How can I represent that? Well, if I take the whole numbers and I add the negative numbers to it, I will get the integers. And the integers is the set of numbers that have negatives, zeros, and positive. All these numbers are rational numbers because they can be expressed as fractions. And they're infinite, all right? So just as a quick note, 1.333, because it keeps repeating, is rational. The square root of 16, is it rational or irrational? Well, can the square root of 16 be written as a fraction? What is the square root of 16? The square root of 16 is 4, because 4 times 4 is 16, right? And 4 can be written as a fraction, as 4 over 1. We know that that's a rational number. So yes, the square root of 16 is a fraction. Can 4.25 be written as a fraction? Yes, it can. It's a rational number. And do you remember how to convert it? Are you able to convert it before I do it? Try your best. You'll have to move the decimal point twice to the right. So that will be 425 all divided by 1. And then because I moved the decimal point twice, then I'm going to have 2 zeros at the end. Dos ceros, mi gente. All right, perfect. That's how you do it. So on the next video, I'm going to show you how to use the math operations to add and subtract positive and negative numbers or integers. So if this was helpful, please comment, like, subscribe. It helps a lot. And if you need additional support, please visit www.virtualmathmasters.com/free session. I'll have the link below, so you can just click on it and hey, book it. And me, Master Cruz, or any of my masters will be able to help you never do math alone again.